All right. Thanks so much. Bridgewater founder Ray Dalio backing China's common prosperity. We know that Ray Dalio has been managing money for the CCP for years. It is what Xi Jinping calls his claimed push for equality. It has ended up driving crackdowns on e-commerce and retail real estate sectors, rather, and brought down more government control and regulation. Dalio is calling the Chinese Communist Party's approach a good thing. He's stressing the benefits of investing in the country. He also said that the U.S. should adopt a similar system to help close the wealth gap and promote prosperity. Joining me right now is Wolfpack Research founder and chief investment officer Dan David. Dan, we constantly hear Ray Dalio pushing China's line because it's about money. He's investing and managing CCP dollars, has been for years.
It's totally about money. And it's one of my favorite things to hear multi-billionaires wax poetic to us about what common prosperity means. He must live it every single day from his gilded tower, paid for by the CCP. And Ray Dalio has been famous for touting truth and transparency in his firm. It's what's made them so successful. Well, look, we just call that truth and transparency, by the way, as common folk. Unless you're in Hollywood or Wall Street, it's radical. For truth and transparency is this. Ray, you've been investing for the CCP for 30 years, billions of dollars. Would you even be Ray Dalio without that 30-year early investment? I don't know, probably. But you've been with them for that long, investing their money, and now you're talking about common prosperity? Have you talked to the people of Hong Kong about common prosperity? The people of Taiwan?
Yeah.
The people of Tibet? The Uyghur Muslims? Are you doing your little tours over there about what common prosperity looks like? Because we don't want that kind of common prosperity here.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely disgusting how Dalio continues to encourage funding the expansion of the CCP. I mean, the CCP has been very clear. It wants to overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. But should unwitting investors actually be investing in Chinese companies tied to the CCP military, in effect, funding the expansion? Look, Wall Street is looking at 1.4 billion people, and they've got dollar signs in their eyes. They want to sell checking accounts and savings accounts to these people. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon discussed it with me yesterday because he's now all in as well, owning 100% of the bank in China because the CCP is giving honeypots out to Wall Street. Here's Jamie on that. Watch.
We do business in a lot of countries, and we follow American foreign policy in all those countries. And there are a lot of difficult ones in other countries, too. So we have to be very, very careful. And we're just very deliberate how we go about engaging with the American government in particular in this case. And, yeah, if you're doing business in China, yes, the risk went up. That is absolutely true. And there are more complex issues around other things. That is true, too. And we're just going to have to navigate around that.
My follow-up question, Dan, was about why he pulled back his comment that J.P. Morgan would outlive the CCP. He said he didn't want to criticize parties, Democrat Party, Republican Party, or the Chinese Communist Party, Dan.
Well, he'll criticize ours, but it's all about, to answer your question directly, money. China will take your money. If you say something even the least bit pejorative about the CCP or China, they will affect your business, your money, your family, all of it under their common prosperity. So that's why he took it back. That's why Ray Dalio walked back his comments. That's why LeBron James prostrates himself every time he sees somebody from the China Communist Party. It's ridiculous. It's not common prosperity. Yeah. Between the two countries. It's their common prosperity at our common expense, continues to be. Yeah. And you're absolutely right about the Belt and Road Project. That has always been a military project. I've talked about this for 5 years. They go and they make onerous loans to these small countries for deep water ports under the guise that they're going to have more commerce. That country defaults on the loan to China. China makes it a deep water naval port, and they're doing it and getting to the west side of Africa, leapfrogging to Central America, which they're doing right now, and they're going to mess with us in our hemisphere. And that's how it's working, straight down that path.
Well, who's protecting America, Dan? I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is the law of the land. So if these companies want to invest in China where they're committing genocide or plans to overtake the United States, they can do it because it's the law of the land. When is Joe Biden going to get tough with the Chinese Communist Party, or are there just way too many conflicts because the CCP has given his family so much money over the years that he won't push back, even as the CCP threatens and abuses its status on the world stage?
Look, I want my president to be successful. I wanted every president we've ever had to be successful. I root for them. But that's just not happening here. Yeah, there are conflicts, undoubtedly, just as the people have talked about conflicts in the last administration. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't. I believe there are pretty serious conflicts with Hunter Biden. That being the case, he could still be the president of the United States. And one thing we can do to protect investors is make sure that Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act gets initiated, gets effected this year. This year, after the audits for China-based companies here in the United States, companies should be identified as who is controlled by the China Communist Party. Here's a hint, all of them. So we'll see what that looks like over the year and who gets marked for delisting, because China's not going to come to the table and provide the transparency that Ray Dalio thinks will usher in common prosperity. So they could be gone in a year, but they're going to go to the important point here is they're going to go to Hong Kong, Maria, and we invest in Hong Kong in trillions of dollars. This has got to have teeth. It's got to affect Hong Kong as well and take our money out of there. We're talking teachers' pensions, fire pensions. When Ray Dalio talked about common prosperity, the MSCI China index last year was down 20%. You know who made money? He probably made money. You know who didn't? You and I and our families. We didn't make money there. Yeah. And that's part of the tech crackdown.
Yeah, common prosperity. What a joke. I mean, tell that to the people of Hong Kong as Xi Jinping continues to crush any dissent anywhere in Hong Kong and in the mainland. Dan, great to talk with you, as always. Thanks very much for catching up on this. Dan David joining us this morning. We'll see you soon, sir. Quick break, and then looking for relief on